Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue often responds to fires sparked by various heat sources in the winter months. Fire Chief Scott Lewis tells us how to stay safe while keeping warm.
Sure, well, there's so many different types. There's kerosene fire, which are pretty much outlawed in every state, and that's due to carbon monoxide accumulation, tip over, use of flammable and combustible liquids to refill them, things like that. The other type are mostly electrical. We talked about the fireplace a little earlier. That's a good way if it's constructed and installed correctly, it's been cleaned, maintained, and you're using appropriate types of materials such as fuels in there. It's never meant to douse wood materials or anything with combustible or flammable liquids. So if you use the fireplace correctly, that gives a nice augmentation and also gives a nice aesthetic, kind of pleasing atmosphere. But most people like to go with the ease and portability of electric space heaters. And we have a number of space heaters over the years that have caused significant fires in Pahrump and outside of Pahrump also throughout the county. The majority of the issues are too closely placed to combustible materials, bedding, piled clothing, paper products, anything along those lines, left unattended, and also the electrical source. Almost every single appliance should be plugged directly into an outlet, not to an extension cord. Most often we find that the extension cord failures are because they're kind of tightly woven still, they're not spread out, they're placed under materials that causes resistive heating, therefore we have then the secondary fire event. Yeah, we'll see a lot of heat lamps used outside in pens. The pens usually have some kind of combustible material, straw or hay, something like that, to give comfort to the animals. But unfortunately, again, that material can become dried out, it can ignite, and therefore then you have a structure fire, that being what is containing animals. In addition, a lot of times they place them up against the houses, so now you have exposure extension to the primary dwelling.
Some space heaters have a feature that shuts off when the unit tips over. Chief Lewis talks about why that can still be an issue.
And you still have to rely on the fact that if they are tipped over, a lot of times they're not completely tipped over, or if they are in a tipped fashion, they're placed against other materials.
Are space heaters a good option to heat a small area in your home?
It's like anything else. There's a risk associated with it. So use appropriately, use wisely, strategically placed, in your presence. They add great value. But once you start using them as a tool and implement to heat a house and you're no longer in the environment, or there's material placed around, or there's something what we call series arcing, where there's an actual arcing between the plug and the outlet, you may not know that there's a problem until the problem presents in a larger fashion.